roading policy, infrastructure, and apart from potholes, I'd say, has just, which are also part of the equation, seems to have taken on a huge significance this election campaign. And after a spate of incredibly bad weather, we have a lot of arterial and important routes that have been washed away and washed out in dramatic fashion. And we have capacity issues, and we have bad potholes, which might or might not be the bitumen because of Marsden Point. But clearly roading and road infrastructure is a massive issue this election. Wellington is struggling with its Let's Get Wellington Moving level crossing program, which is going to be axed by National. We've got 4 lanes to Whangarei. So it is all go. And we've got ACT, as we've covered on this program, suggesting more toll roads, private-public partnership. Yesterday, we had National come out and say, why not take... And David Seymour, remember, when we talked about toll roads, was specific, we're not going to take Chinese money. And we have Chris Luxon coming out yesterday and saying, but Chinese money? Why the hell not? Why the hell not? And there's a policy difference there. I think it's always good to talk to the people who use an infrastructure as to what they make of the policy debates. It affects them disproportionately. The National Road Carriers Group, they represent 1,500 members, mostly businesses, though 3/4 are individual truck owners, so they own trucks. And their spokesman is Justin Tighe-Umbers, and he joins us on the line now. Justin, welcome to the platform. Nice to have you with us.
Good morning, Sean. Thank you for having me on.
All right, so you must be heartened, your members must be heartened that roading is such a bigger issue for the 2023 election. First up.
Well, yes and no. So, look, yes, fantastic that it's obviously finally getting the attention that it clearly deserves and needs. But the really worrying factor, Sean, is that we've got a bread and butter issue like roading that is actually just supposed to sit in the background and work and do its job quietly at a front and centre issue for the election. And our members have been saying, they drive up and down the roads, those owner drivers, every day, and they've been saying for the last 2 to 3 decades they've been watching the network crumble around their ears.
Yeah. And I wouldn't disagree, having known people in the industry, I would not disagree that it's not like you guys haven't been saying, whoa, we got a problem.
Yeah. So it's actually where we don't want to be, because the reason it is front and centre in the election is because it's in such poor state and it's starting to have a massive impact on people's lives and the economy. So in that lens, look, not great, but certainly we're really pleased. We've been working hard to raise the profile of it on behalf of our members. I think all of New Zealand's fed up with the state of our roads and its shocking level of infrastructure for a first world country. So it is good it's getting the attention it deserves.
I'd also add it's not just roads. I look at the ferries across the Cook Strait. We've got major issues there as well, right? Which is part of the same network.
That's right. We call it the floating part of State Highway 1. And obviously that's had major challenges. We've had truck drivers having to sit there for hours and hours or sometimes overnight, losing thousands of dollars. And again, it's back to that inability in New Zealand to plan infrastructure in a disciplined way. Infrastructure is 20, 30, 50-year asset investment, and you have to do it in a really considered and planned way. Maintain the asset all the way through and start replacing when you know that it's going to reach its end of life well before. And we're just not good at doing that in this country.
Mm. All right, so it would seem to me in layman's terms, we've had National come out and say, we're going to do all this. And then, of course, Labour says, how are you going to pay for it, et cetera, et cetera. Well, they've just committed to doing it. How useful is that?
Really useful. And look, I think there's a table stakes view in here that basically it shouldn't be a political football. It should just be common sense across any party that wants to have credibility to get elected and show that they'd be capable at governing. The table stakes are that we need a well-functioning, efficient, operating roading network. The reason for that is it obviously underpins our economy and underpins our lifestyle. 93% of our goods go up and down roads. That's how they're delivered in New Zealand. That's just the way it is here. We're one of the most road-dependent countries in the world, and that's because of our size, topography, and our small population. So it's really good that what's been committed. We've seen it in a couple of policies come out, one from National, one from Act. But what they're doing, I think, is pinning their colours to the mast and saying, look, here is what we will deliver. And they're focused on what needs to be focused on, which is productivity and efficiency. What's going to unlock the most for us in the country the fastest that we can. Paying for it, of course, is always the complex issue. I think there's a recognition across the board that user pays. The current model that we have, it's worked reasonably well for a while, but it's running out of its road, so to speak. So we have to look overseas, see what works well, and put all options on the table.
All right. Chinese money seems to have become an issue for some reason or other. To your members, does it matter where the money comes from? I mean, Act say no Chinese money. Luxon says if it's there, we'd use it to achieve the strategic end.
Yeah, look, I think they're not so focused on that. They're literally, when they're driving up and down roads that are open one day, closed the next, and they're suddenly having to do a 200-kilometre detour. Yeah. I suspect they won't care where the money comes from. And look, we've talked about it. Some of the options overseas have been tolling, obviously. There's things like congestion charges. I know there contentious issues in some quarters, but I think for operators who are out there every day, if they've got a great new road that they can drive up and down, they'll be prepared to pay for it. And
that's interesting, because that's really the cornerstone of Act's thing is toll roads. You're saying if it works economically, your members don't have any problem dipping into their pocket to take a faster, more efficient, more productive route.
Yeah, exactly, because they can make it, they get the gains back in efficiency, and they're managing their fleet and delivering goods faster, etc. as well. So everyone sort of wins out of it. You have to, you've got to strike the toll amount right and all of those sorts of things. And just to give you an example, Sean, the Waikato Expressway opening up, that's shaved 30 minutes on a one-way trip for our members. It's shaved off massive other maintenance having to occur on other roads. It's removed them from driving past schools and little villages. They can go straight to the supermarket if that's where they're delivering. It's just been an absolute game changer. Same things happen on Puhoi to Warkworth. That's shaving 11 minutes off. You turn that both ways, it's nearly half an hour. Yeah. And it's just delivering productivity up the wazoo. It's fantastic.
Mm. Why do you think we did fall behind, Justin? What happened? When did we take our eye off the infrastructure ball?
Well, there's a couple of reasons would be my observation. Number one, politicians just can't help but playing political football with these projects. So the next government gets in, they look at the list, I don't want that one. And
they're stuck in a 3-year cycle, aren't they? 3-year electoral cycle generally.
They are. It's just a lolly jar for them to play with. To get good announceables, and the whole country suffers, and all parties are guilty of it. And so we've called for, we've got to get this out of the reach of short-term politicians. And the way National Road Carriers has called for a 50-year road transport policy, because it's a 50-year asset. Waka Kotahi and I think National have talked about 30 years, and that'd still be a big improvement on where we are. We just need to do the business cases, what's going to deliver what we need as a country in 20, 30, 40 years, lock it in, keep it out of reach of politicians, and get on with it. And sorry, the second piece, Sean, is the real challenge that happens is the people who go out and build the roads, the Fulton Hogans, the Higgins of the world, they've only got a 3-year pipeline view. So they're supposed to invest in an army of capability, equipment, and people to only have a government potentially turn around in 2 or 3 years and pull the rug. They know that, and so what they do is they build the risk of that happening into the price.
And the price goes up. So it's interesting do we have the capacity to improve our roading network and expand our roading network in the way that, for instance, the National Party says? I mean, does that capacity actually exist in our economy right now or not? Because the other thing about the Chinese money is the Chinese workers.
Well, that's right. It's we compare ourselves to overseas countries and go, look, they can do it that fast, but often that's because they've got a long supply of cheap labour to be able to do it, and that's what we don't have here. I think it's a really good question. My sense is every sector that you look at them at the moment is shortchanged on people. So I think the road building sector will be the same. What we can do to help it, though, is if we give that pipeline view, we get sensible about incentive payments and how we do it instead of a whole lot of wasteful spend. It does send a signal to overseas companies, particularly in Australia, that all right, there's a good project on offer here. I've got a nice solid 10-year pipeline. I'm gonna get on and send some people over to do that. So you can attract them in, but you've got to have the stability and certainty of the project. But I think you're right. We're going to have to make some judicious decisions in the short term when we do go through the list of the 13 roads of national significance or whatever we're deciding to build, and go which ones do we desperately need and how can we resource them, and what do we have to do to attract more resource.
Yeah. So, Justin, you don't sound like a guy who, like me, occasionally says, what is it with the roading? You're not disappointed that this is on the agenda for the 2023 election campaign, clearly.
No, I'm delighted because it absolutely has to be. It's an essential infrastructure, strategic infrastructure. Imagine if our electricity was falling apart like this.
Yeah.
Why is it acceptable that our roading is? When it's such a critical infrastructure for everyone. We all need it. And people who catch public transport, why are we putting money in roads? Well, everyone every day is using goods delivered by trucks.
Yeah.
It's just simply the way it is, and we'll all be much better off with a functioning road network. I'd like to see it not an election issue next election because it's all underway and quietly being well managed.
Yeah, good on you.
Yeah.
Justin, I thank you very much. Fascinating conversation. Good to have you on the platform. Justin Tighe-Umbers, the National Road Carriers Lobby Group, representing 1,500 members involved in the transport industry. And that's a good point he makes. It shouldn't be an election issue. This is just part of the basics of running a bloody country is that you can get around, isn't it?